What happened to Cream?
By 1966, Eric Clapton had played with the Yardbirds and John Mayall and the Bluesbreakers during the course of his career. When he played with Bruce in an impromptu ensemble called Powerhouse, he got to know Ginger Baker, who was at the time the head of the Graham Bond organization. In the burgeoning British music scene, they were already regarded as the cream of the crop among blues and jazz players. On July 29, 1966, the band performed at the Twisted Wheel for the first time informally. Clapton was reluctant to sing, but he occasionally harmonized with Bruce and eventually took the lead vocals on numerous Cream songs. Fresh Cream, the band's debut album, was created and published in 1966. In March 1967, the band made its first trip to the country to perform 9 shows at the RKO 58th Street Theater in New York. Little changed because Murray the K put the band at the bottom of a 6-act bill that appeared 3 times per night, eventually limiting them to only 1 song per performance. They came back to New York between May 11th and May 15th of 1967 to record Disraeli Gears. This, the group's second album, debuted in the top 5 on both sides of the Atlantic when it was released in November 1967. It was recorded at Atlantic Studios in New York under the direction of producer Felix Pappalardi and engineer Tom Dowd. Sunshine of Your Love, the band's unofficial song, as well as Strange Brew and Tales of Brave Ulysses, are all included on Disraeli Gears. Pete Brown and Bruce Brown, who were in a state of near despair, had an idea in the early hours. Bruce, who was worn out from the long and fruitless night at his apartment, pulled out his double bass once more and played a riff in an attempt to salvage something. The album was supposed to be released in the summer of 1967, but the record company decided to modify the packaging and replace the original cover with a new psychedelic one, created by artist Martin Sharp, delaying the release by several months. The album was noteworthy for its day because it featured a psychedelic cover that was based on a publicity photo of the three. They performed their first headline shows in the US in August 1967, opening at the Fillmore in San Francisco and closing at the Pinnacle in Los Angeles. The concerts were a huge success and had a significant impact on both the band and the burgeoning hippie scene in general. The band started to play longer sets on stage after noticing an increase in listeners, adding new songs to the repertoire that eventually reached 20-minute jams. Songs like Sunshine of Your Love and Crossroads remained relatively brief, but lengthy jam songs were in Spoonful, NSU, I'm So Glad, and Sweet Wine, and they became live favorites. Wheels of Fire, the band's third album, debuted at the top of the American charts in 1968. The double record, which consisted of 2 LP discs and was still rather unusual, was ideal for lengthy solos. The band's small shift away from the blues and toward a semi-progressive rock sound, highlighted by unusual time signatures and different symphonic elements, can be heard in the Wheels of Fire studio album. The group did, however, record Albert King's Born Under a Bad Sign and Howling Wolf's Sitting on Top of the World. White Room, the opening track, quickly became a radio mainstay. While the band was waiting to perform live at the BBC, they wrote another song called Politician. 3 live recordings from the Winterland Ballroom and 1 from the Fillmore were included on the album's second disc. Numerous best guitar soloists include Clapton's second solo from Crossroads among the top 20. The band members were done by the time Wheels of Fire was finished in the middle of 1968 and desired to go their separate ways. Since its inception, Cream had struggled with several core issues that ultimately caused its disintegration in November 1968. Tensions in the band were a result of the rivalry between Bruce and Baker. Clapton believed that the band members were not listening to one another adequately. New Marshall amplifier stacks provided more power during this time, and Jack Bruce increased volume levels, which put Baker under pressure because he would find it difficult to compete with the screaming stacks. In a concert, Clapton reportedly stopped playing and neither Bruce nor Baker noticed. Clapton has also remarked that the majority of Cream's later performances were its members strutting their stuff. During a US tour in May 1968, Cream made the decision to split up. After a farewell tour of the United States and 2 performances in London, the band officially announced in July that it was disbanding. In the end, Cream agreed to record one more album. After the band disbanded, the album, appropriately titled Goodbye, was produced in late 1968 and released in early 1969. 6 songs were included. 3 live recordings from a performance at the Forum in Los Angeles, California on October 19th, and 3 brand new studio recordings, including Badge, written by Clapton and George Harrison, who also played rhythm guitar and was given the name Leangelo Misterioso, and featured on the album. The live tracks contain the song I'm So Glad. From October 4th to November 4th of 1968, Cream's farewell tour included 22 performances at 19 venues across the U.S. On November 25th and 26th of 1968, Yes, a band that had just formed 3 months earlier, opened Cream's final 2 farewell performances at the Royal Albert Hall. The final performance in the US took place on November 4th at the Rhode Island Auditorium. Due to local limitations, the band could only play 2 songs, Toad and an extended version of Spoonful, because they arrived late. Following Clapton's unsuccessful attempt to bring Steve Winwood into Cream in the expectation that he would act as a mediator between Bruce and Baker, the band Blind Faith was created, featuring both Clapton and Baker. With Delaney and Bonnie, Derek and the Dominoes, and during his own lengthy and varied solo career, Clapton performed very different, less experimental work that was influenced by more song-based groups. And he had several hits over the years. A few examples would be like I Shot This Sheriff, his only #1 hit, Tears in Heaven, Wonderful Tonight, and so much more. With the 1969 release of Songs for a Tailor, Bruce launched a successful and diversified solo career, while Baker, Winwood, Rick Greck, Graham Bond, and Denny Lane of the Moody Blues and later Wings established Ginger Baker's Air Force, a jazz fusion band from the ashes of Blind Faith. After Cream, all 3 members played live performances, formed musical collaborations, and recorded music for more than 40 years. In 1993, Cream was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and reformed to perform at the induction ceremony. In 2005, Cream reunited for a series of 4 shows on the 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 6th of May at the Royal Albert Hall in London. Bruce and Baker said in later interviews that they were interested in touring as Cream. And like I said before, they reunited for 3 additional shows at the Royal Albert Hall. And the reunion marked the first time the band had played Badge and Press Rat and Warthog live. Among those in attendance were Bill Wyman, Steve Winwood, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Roger Waters, Brian May, Jimmy Page, and Mick Taylor. Inspired by the success of the reunion, the band agreed to an additional set of 3 shows at the Madison Square Garden in New York City from October 24th to the 26th of 2005. According to Clapton, these concerts did not live up to their Royal Albert Hall performances due to, among other reasons, lack of rehearsal and the resurgence of old grudges among band members. Cream received a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in recognition of their contribution to and influence upon modern music. Bruce died on October 25th, 2014, and Baker died on October 6, 2019, leaving Clapton as the last surviving member. And that's what happened to Cream. Thank you for watching, and like and subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know, who do you want me to see do a video on this channel? And give me some facts that I failed to mention about Cream. Like I said, give me one of your favorite songs as well. Any comment would be appreciated. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.